The 2010 film, A Nightmare on Elm Street, this is a terrible remake in my opinion. Bad acting, uninteresting characters, and a story that is quite frankly all over the place. Yeah, I remember seeing this when it had first came out and rewatching it after so many years. This is without question an absolute disaster. So the story of this one is basically the same as the 1984 original. Freddy Krueger is after the children of the parents that had murdered him, so he begins to stalk and kill them in their dreams. But the story here is so lazily done, it just feels underwhelming to be honest. And to make matters worse, this version of Freddy Krueger is a pedophile, which I personally believe that really did not need to be a part of his character. Not only that though, I generally did not care about any of these characters, and that's the worst thing a movie can make you do, not care if the characters live or died. So when Chris or even Dean gets taken out early on in the film, I generally just didn't care because I didn't have any kind of emotional attachment to those characters. Nonetheless, I'm planning on never watching this again because it really does nothing for me, and quite frankly, there are better films in this franchise. Honestly, all the characters in this movie, they are boring, particularly Nancy. I don't know if she was trying to act through the motions, but just came off as lazy. Not only that, but also Kyle Gardner. I thought his acting was mediocre. Quentin was a character that really didn't do anything for me. I thought that Jackie Earle Haley, he did a decent job portraying the character. It is tough shoes to fill, particularly because Robert Englund had portrayed the character for so long, but I thought he was decent, but he didn't have a whole lot to do. Another character I have to point out was Chris. I thought that Katie Cassidy, her acting was abysmal. Even though she wasn't in it that long, I was just bored with that character. This is probably one of the worst horror movies of the 2010s. And I was trying to look for some positives, but honestly, I couldn't find any. This doesn't do enough to make it a decent remake or even great for that matter. And the thing is, this probably could have been really entertaining. And I know there are fans of this film out there, but I always despised this. I always thought it was one of the worst movies from the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise. And not only that, the ending even sucked as Freddy Krueger comes through the mirror, kills Nancy's mom, and well, that's it. And since this had never gotten a sequel, it's just another embarrassing stain for the character. And even 15 years later, this still is a horror film I just quite frankly don't care for. I'm giving this film a 4 out of 10. To add insult to injury, the late Wes Craven wasn't even consulted when they made this. He had no involvement with the movie and he vastly disapproved of it. Not only that, but there hasn't been another entry in this franchise in a decade and a half, so that says a lot. Even though this had made over $100 million at the box office, the film rights went back to the Wes Craven estate back in 2019, while New Line Cinema has the international film rights. And considering we haven't heard any recent news on a new installment, who knows when we'll get a new movie, but I'm guessing it's not going to be anytime soon. Anyway, I find this remake to be one of the worst I've seen when it comes to horror, with forgettable characters and also a weak story. And that's my review of A Nightmare on Elm Street. Alright, leave your comments down below in the section and let me know what you think about this movie. Okay, this is Slim Guy 172 saying peace out.